Let me also share my screen. I hope you guys are able to see my screen. Okay, great. So welcome to the third day and also the last day for the Spring Boot Bootcamp slash crash course with Shantanu at Geeks for Geeks. Okay. Please do not draw it on my screen. I really don't like it. And I don't think the drawing is beautiful either. Okay, coming back to the crash course that we were creating. So I was just telling you, or I was just welcoming you to back to this session. So today is the third and the last day, and today we will be trying to talk about a few more topics. So the topics that we will be discussing today are the following. We have deploying Spring Boot application to cloud, basic, secure APIs with basic authentication, and hands-on mini backend project. Okay, so we will be trying to talk about securing our APIs with basic authentication and also a hands-on mini backend project. So these are the two things that we will be doing. For the mini backend project, we will be taking forward our crash course Spring application only. So we will take this application only forward in terms of making our mini backend project. For securing APIs with basic authentication, we will be using Spring Security. And lastly, deploying Spring Boot application to cloud. This is something that we are not going to study because it requires a few resources where we want to deploy our application, which I don't have with me. And these resources are usually paid. So therefore, I will not be able to deploy the application. But I can still tell you a few steps that are necessary. However, they will be very volatile because depending on what kind of deployment strategy and what kind of tools your company uses, what I teach may be absolutely relevant with what you will require to do when you have to deploy a Spring Boot application in real time. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Somebody has asked, I almost finished the first session, but I couldn't successfully have JDBL URL work, so could not attend yesterday sessions. I think you might face a lot of challenges in today's class, Toshika. Okay, let's get started. So let's try to safeguard our APIs. Okay, so we will be using Spring Security. Now, to order Spring Security, or in order to understand Spring Security, we need to understand two important things. We need to understand two important things. Now, what are these two important things? What I want to explain is the idea of authentication. Okay, so we all know that. Let's say, can you see your Instagram messages if you are not logged in? A quick question. Can you see your Instagram messages if you are not logged in? No, right? But Instagram definitely has a function to see, to allow you to show your messages. But the only thing is that you can only see it when you are logged in. Correct? Can you see your bank account balance without logging in into your net banking or without writing the right UPI pin? You cannot do that, right? So there are many operations that a backend application provides, but those operations must be secured due to with something. Those operations must be secured because of something. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? They must be secured with the help of something. So that is one of the security layers that we will apply. So there are multiple ways to get it done in case of Spring Boot or in case of a Java application. However, as of now, we will not be focusing on the complicated ones. We will be focusing on the best way to do this, that is with the help of Spring Security. Okay, we will be trying to talk about this kind of functionality with the help of Spring Security. Are you able to understand what we are going to learn and study? I think I need to turn on annotation processing over here. For some reason, it's not coming right. Okay, let me just restart my IntelliJ. Just give me 1 second. Oh, okay. Just give me 1 second. There's a small issue with my IntelliJ. Just give me 1 second, please. There was a small issue with my IntelliJ, so I just fixed it. And after that, I have restarted my IntelliJ. Acquire this. I think there's some. Oh, okay, I think the error went away, right? Yeah. No, no, no. So I am facing one very small problem with my IntelliJ. Probably it's because I recently updated my IntelliJ. That's the reason why I'm facing it. Okay, fine. If we come across this error, we'll look into it later. Okay, let's get started. So I was just telling you about implementing a security feature on our Spring application. So right now we have the possibility of getting a student and other things, right? As of now, only student in order to fetch the information of student, updating a student, deleting a student, all of those kind of operations. Okay, fine. So the first thing I'm going to do is, in order to implement any sort of security, I need to add Spring security into my system. Okay, I need to add Spring security into my system. So the first thing I will do is that dependency, and over here I will write Spring dash security, Spring security core only. I think I need to add, right? Just give me 1 second. I need to make sure that I am writing the right Spring security version. Just 1 second. Okay, I can't find it. I'll just search it on Spring Initializer. So let me open Chrome. I actually forgot the real name of the dependency. Security. So this is my dependency. So I'll copy it, go back and paste it over here. Okay, so this will add Spring security into my system. Okay, so right now we have only added the dependency. What have we done? We have only and only added the dependency. Okay, now let's start our application. So I'm starting my application of Spring security, sorry, of Crash Course Spring. So I'm just starting my application. Let's wait for it to start. It's taking some time. It's taking more time because of my recent IntelliJ update. So it's just indexing, then it will start, I guess. Let me try starting again. Yeah, now it looks like it's going to start. Yeah, so my Spring application is now starting. Okay, and Spring Boot has started to work. Okay, great. Now I'll go back to my browser, or I'll go back to Postman. Let's say open Postman. Okay, or other than that, I am also opening my browser and I write localhost 7070 slash multiply two numbers. Remember this URL? Multiply two numbers question mark A equals 10 and B equals 10. Do you remember this thing? You remember this thing, right? But do you see that the moment I put this and I hit enter, I see a page like this. I'm seeing a page like this, right? I'm seeing a page like this. So even though, as you can see, that I have not really done anything, I have not done anything. I have just added the dependency of Spring Security. Apart from that, I have not done anything. So even when I have not written any extra piece of code, I am still seeing a browser window where it is asking me to write a username and password. Are you able to see that? Are you able to see that? So what is the username and what is the password? What is the username and what is the password? Now that's the main question. What is the username and what is the password? Okay, so the username in this case is going to be, by default, it's always user. But what is the password? The password right now is given to us by Spring Security. So if I go back to my IntelliJ over here, you will notice that at the time of starting my application, I got a password. It says generated password is equals to this. It says this generated password is for development use only. Your security configuration must be updated before running your application in production. Okay, let's try to copy this password for the time being. Command C, and I'll go back to browser and I'll try to paste this password over here and then click on sign in. The moment I click on sign in, I'm able to get my value. That is of adding two numbers. Now let's say if I change my numbers, let's say 2 and 10. 2 and 10, you can see I'm getting the number 20. So do you notice that when I hit my second request, when A is equal to 2 and B is equal to 10, then in that situation, we did not get another prompt of logging in. Right? Are you able to notice that? For example, if I copy it and open a new tab and paste the same thing, you will notice that now also it is not asking me to log in again. Are you noticing this? Now also it is not asking me to log in again. Right? However, if I open a new, let's say a new window, and if I write the same thing over here, then also it is working absolutely fine. But if I open an incognito window and paste the same thing, it will ask me to log in again. Do you see what's happening? This is because of session management. So Spring Security is also capable of doing session management. So once you have logged in, Spring Security is going to return to your browser something called as a session ID, which you can see in the cookies. This is your session ID, which Spring Security has given to the browser. Okay, so on the basis of this value, Spring is able to understand that you are still logged in. You are still logged in. Are you able to understand what's happening? Okay, so if I want to log out, I'll have to write /logout. Then it asks me, are you sure that you want to log out? And if I click on logout, then I will get logged out. Are you able to understand what happened so far? So Spring Security has the capability of maintaining sessions. Spring Security can allow you to do many different ways of authentication, including OAuth, JWT, etc., etc. It can allow you to do a lot of things. However, this is the most basic form of authentication. That is a username and a password. Are you able to understand what I am trying to say? Okay. Now let's say that in this case, if I restart my application, the password will again become new. Like I will have a new password again. Do you think it's a good thing? I personally don't think so. Don't you think that we should have a defined username and defined password? Right? We should have a defined username and defined password. So we can also do that. We can go to application.properties file and I can write, let's say, Spring Security. And here I can write something like this, spring.security.user.name. Let's say I want my name to be Shantanu. And the password must also be Shantanu. Let's say password is also Shantanu. So I can write dot password is equals to Shantanu. I can just write this. So what will this do? This will make my username and password is equals to Shantanu. Okay, so if I restart my app, restarting my application, so now that I've restarted my application, do you see that the automatically generated password prompt anymore? Do you see that? Do you see that it is trying to generate an automatically generated password again? Are you able to see that sort of a message? No, right? This is mostly because now we have added our own username and password. Therefore, it doesn't require to generate its own generated password. So now if I go back to my browser, okay, and if I do a login again, let's say slash same multiply two numbers, it takes me to the login screen. Here, my username will become Shantanu and my password will also become Shantanu. And if I click on sign in, it is now able to sign in. Are you able to understand how it's working so far? Are you able to understand how it is working so far? Anybody, any questions so far? Anybody, any questions so far? Can we store the username and password in the database? Yes, we can. And we will do that later. We will do it. If your users are stored in a database, and let's say a user's information is stored in the database, then of course you can use that also if you want to do it. If it is your first class and for anybody, you will most probably not understand 90% of it. So yeah. Naveen is asking, can you tell overall code? What do you mean by overall code? Overall code is our whole application, our whole GitHub repository. What exactly on the server is, where exactly on the server is a session getting stored? Can we see that logged in details maintained by the Spring server? Technically, no, because the way it's happening is that Spring security is internally maintaining your session, because right now you just have one user only. So against this user, it will try to maintain its sessions without making use of any database at all. I cannot provide you any recorded videos, Vinod. This is on YouTube and this will be available on YouTube only. If this is your first class, most probably you will not understand a lot of things. Can we get an overview on OAuth or JWT? We can try to talk about it. However, I will not be discussing about both of those two topics in detail because it will take a lot of time and most people will not have context around it. For example, Arshad, you at least know what OAuth or JWT is. And there are more complex forms of authentication, which I think people might not be able to understand. And that is not something we are covering in the session as well. However, if we have some time, then maybe we can discuss. The Spring Security Starter dependency only provides this UI, right? Yes. So all of this UI that you saw on the browser, that is coming because of Spring Security only. So Spring Security is a whole package that can do everything you want it to do for security. It can do everything you want because of security. Okay. All right. So this is called as basic authentication. This is called as basic authentication. So when you want to authenticate on the basis of username and password only, this is called as basic authentication. Is this session stored same as when we use login controller in microservice? Well, that depends on what your login controller is all about, Kishan. I need to see your login controller in order to answer this question. Coming back to our discussion, so I was just telling you that this is called as basic authentication. Okay, this is called as basic authentication. What will happen if we try to log in with same user credentials in new incognito window? Then two sessions will be maintained. There will be two sessions that will be maintained. For example, like if I open an incognito window and if I write localhost, whatever, and if I write Shantanu and then Shantanu again, You can see that on the incognito window also it's working fine, and on the normal window also it's working fine. So it is maintaining two sessions of the same user. Okay, clear? Sorry. Can we control the number of sessions? If we want to, yes, we can. Okay, is it clear? So the control to verify is with Spring Security, but if you want to have our own verification system, so if you want to have your own verification system, that depends what your verification system is. Most probably you will want to have a username password system on the basis of the database username and password, or you might want an OTP authentication system, or you might want an OAuth 2 authentication system, or you might want a passkey authentication system. Whatever you want, Spring Boot has it. That's what I want to tell you. So you have to write extra code for that. You have to write extra configurations for that. And the more complex process you go into, the more complex your code will become. Simple as that. Okay. So Spring Security is doing most of the work for you here. So right now, my job is to teach you basic Spring Security, which is what I'm trying to do. If you want to make things more complex, you are free to explore and understand how to make it more complex. If we cannot see where the user session details are getting saved, then if the admin wants to roll back the logged user, how can the administrator do it? There is again a code that you can write for it. All of those things are possible. But the main thing is, see, it's all about use case, Sharad. If you have a use case, you need to figure out how do you implement that use case. If we go according to the logic that you're presenting while asking a question, there are 100 million use cases that can be generated around every single topic of Spring Security, which I cannot teach in the class. The whole idea is that those sessions are getting stored somewhere internally because of Spring Security, which you can definitely access if you need it. If you don't need it, then Spring Security is not going to show you those session management things by default. If you log out from one window, then is it logged out from another window automatically? No, that is not true. The window where you log out, that session gets deleted. If that session gets deleted, then any other session which is active with the same session ID, that will become invalid. Why would somebody go for more complex security measures? Is default Spring Security weak for some flaw? It can be weak. It can be weak. What if somebody steals your password? Like today we have multi-factor authentication, right? Where we have an authenticator kind of an app which does this authentication for us. That is one interesting way. Now, if you're working in a company which has 100, let's say if you're working in a company which has 100 applications, and each application needs an authentication. So you can use your company's email ID and password to log into each of these 100 applications. That is one way. Or you can store your own email and password for each of these 100 applications separately. Now, is that a good idea? Probably not. Is there any way to know how many users are currently logged in? There are ways. There are ways. Yes, there are ways. That's how I tell you. JWT plus Bcred plus CSRF are a good combination of authentication. Yes, it is a good combination. I have defined name and password as camel case Neeraj, but it's saying bad credentials. Uh, have you restarted your app after you've written your name and password? Okay, I'll have to see your screen in that case. Is it working with lowercase n in both cases? Is it working? Yeah, if it doesn't work there also, then there is something wrong with your code. Okay. All right. So this is what we do for basic user authentication in Spring. Okay. You can either define your own user, or you can define your own, or you can use a system generated password. However, it is never a good idea to use system generated password. Anybody, any questions? I hope this is mostly clear. Okay, let's move ahead. Now we will be trying to talk about the mini backend project that we will be creating. So right now the time is 8:30. And in this mini backend application, I will be creating the project, I will be writing code, but I will also ask you to write code. So if you are not following along with me, or if you are not on your system, that means not on your computer, and if you're joining from phone, or you think that only watching this will help you retain everything in your head, then you are wrong. This is going to cause problems for you. Tomorrow, most probably you'll forget everything, or in 1 week, you might not even remember anything. And after 1 month, you will say, "Oh, I did this Spring Security course, crash course on by Geeks for Geeks on YouTube for 3 days. However, I don't remember anything." So it is only beneficial for you if you start writing code or if you start to do this exercise along with me, because if you don't do it, then most probably you will forget every single thing you have learned. And that's literally facts. There is no up and down, left or right with this. It is facts. You will forget everything. Okay? Cool. Let's get started. So now, for the meantime, before we go and delve deeper into our Spring application, for the time being, I am commenting out Spring Securities dependency until we write more APIs. Until we write more APIs, I am commenting this Spring Security dependency for the time being. Okay, and I'm also stopping my Spring Boot application. Okay, so right now we have a student controller. Okay, similarly, we will be writing some more controllers. Let's say one student is there. Now, what can the student do? Now, this is a one-on-one discussion I'm having. There is no right answer or wrong answer. We are trying to create a small backend application. Okay, so I want you guys to suggest me what kind of application we should create. That is a suggestion I'm asking from you. So one quick question is, what is the type of application you would want to use which has a student? Which has a student. So you tell me what kind of application should we create? I am asking for suggestions. E-commerce. E-commerce does not have students, right? It has users. Attendance management system, okay. Library book. Okay, let's try to do a course enrollment application. Okay, course enrollment. So there will be courses and students can enroll in that course. Something like that. Does that make sense? Okay, let's try to do a course enrollment application. So there will be a course or there will be so many courses and then there will be students that will enroll into courses. Make sense? Makes sense? Like Udemy. No, Udemy is not course enrollment. Like it's a like you don't enroll into a Udemy course. You purchase a course. It's like an e-commerce website. Udemy is like an e-commerce website, right? Udemy is like an e-commerce website. Okay, so we will do a course enrollment kind of a project. Okay, let me go back to my browser. Let me open that drawing tool that I use. No, we can continue in the same project only. Okay, so this is my drawing tool. Okay, so now let's think about it. Okay, so first of all, we will have a course. A course. Okay, what will the course have? The course will have ID. The course will have name. The course will have price. The course will have, let's say, maximum student size. Maximum student size. Fifth will be what? ID name code, ID name price, number of days. Six will be start date. Anything else that we need? Anything else that we need for a course? Topics. Okay, we can have a description. Let's say description. Maybe end date. Don't you think we can calculate the end date by number of days and start date combination? We can do that, right? Hmm. Okay, what else? Mentor details. Okay, let's add a mentor. 8 mentor. Credits. Not really credits. We are trying to do something like Geeks for Geeks, right? Book. Again, we don't need a book. It's a digital course, right? Class attendance. I don't think that's necessary. Certifications not necessary. Enrollment end time. Last day to enroll. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Let's say 9. Enrollment end date. What else? Instructor details can have with class entity. Yes, that is true. Copy of enrollment. What does that mean? Study material, progress data, teacher details. Teacher details already present in mentor. Discount. Discount will become a part of price. I think we can stop over here. Okay, so this is the information about a course. Correct? This is the information about a course. Okay, let's say it has no exams, just videos. That's it. Okay, so this is the information about course. Okay, now because we are also using a mentor, so we will have information about mentor as well. Mentor. So what will be the info that I need for mentor? For mentor, I need ID, mentor ID, first name, last name, current company, years of experience. I think this is it for mentor. We can also maintain the list of student enrolled till date in the course. We can do that, but we will do it separately, sir. We will do it separately. Okay, this is fine. Okay, now we know that there is a mentor, there is a course, and there is also a student. There is also a student. Okay, there's also a student. Now you know that a student will enroll in a course or student will purchase a course, something like that. A student will enroll into a course, yes or no? A student will enroll into a course. Now let's say there are two courses. Course number one is around Java. Course number two is about C++. Then can one student enroll into more than one course? Yes, right? So one student can enroll into more than one course. Okay, now one more quick question. Let's say the student enrolled into a C++ course, which is of 15 days. So the student enrolled into C++ course and after 15 days, the course was finished. Now the student thinks that they want to learn C++ again. So they are enrolling into the C++ course again, the new C++ course. Can we do that? We can do that also. So we can say that a student will enroll into a course. Therefore, there will be an enrollment table which will maintain which student was enrolled to what course. Okay, so this will have information like this: enrollment. This will have information as enrollment ID. Second, it will have student information, which student enrolled. Third, it will have course information, which course was the student enrolled in. Four, it can have enrollment date. What else do we need for enrollment? What other things that we need? Email. So email can be taken from student only, right? Student will have email. What about foreign keys? Forget about foreign keys right now. I'm trying to understand what will the enrollment contain. I'm not asking what will enrollment database table contain. I'm not asking about that. Class time. Okay, let's skip it for that. I don't want to make it very complicated. Student should have list of courses that he has enrolled with. Can we not take that out from the enrollment table, enrollment information only? We can find out all the enrollments by a student for a given student from the enrollment information only instead of keeping it in the student. Status, enrollment status. Yeah, that is a good one. So enrollment status can be what? Uh, what should be the enrollment status? What should be the values for enrollment status? Active, inactive. So don't you think the enrollment will be active when the enrollment exists and the course is before the enrollment, the course is before the end date? Don't you think so? So if let's say a student is enrolled into a course and the course end date has not come yet, then the enrollment is active. Course completed, course registered, course in progress. That's a good one. That's a good one. So let's say I can write 5 status. Good one. What else? Let's say a student enrolled into a course and then canceled it later. Canceled it later. For cancellation, we can have because it can only be two values, so I'll maintain a boolean is uh, number of courses enrolled. No, that we will not do. Upgrade course. What does that even mean? Upgrade course. Is it like a Pokemon that you will upgrade it? Number of seats available in the course. Let's say it's an online course, so there's no idea of seats. Fee status. It's already present in the price of the course. Sir, we can make it status inactive. Why we need 0.6? We can make it inactive. Why we need 0.6? Hmm. So the status, what does the status mean? Status can mean, let's say, registered, which is by default. Then we can have cancelled, which is okay. And then we can have completed. So three statuses can exist. Therefore, I can remove is active. Active, active, complete, and cancelled. Let's say three statuses can exist, which will be active, complete, cancelled. Make sense? Status can have three values: active, complete, and cancelled. All right, so we will stop here and now we will start writing our code. Okay, so first of all, let's go to student. Okay, let's go to student and we have to add one more field over here for student, that is email ID. So I will write @column and I will write @name is equals to email. It cannot be null, so I'll write nullable is equals to false, and I will also write unique is equals to true. What unique is equal to true will do is that it will create a database constraint which will make sure that no two users have the same email ID. Okay. Neeraj is writing, we can move the status inside student entity and is active or inactive in the enrollment. No, one student can enroll into multiple courses and each enrollment can have its own active and inactive status. Okay, then this will be a not, this will be an email field, email, private string, email. Okay, so this is the student information. Okay, this is the student information. All right. Okay, now we will go to student repository. Everything is already taken care in the student repository. As of now, everything is also already taken care in the student service, right? Everything is already taken care in the student service about adding a student, getting a student by ID, updating a student, and deleting a student by ID. Already taken care of. Okay, and then we also have a student controller, which is already taking care of CRUD operations of a student. Is it all clear so far? Is it all clear so far? Yes or no? Okay, so technically, this is already ready. Can we say that this is already ready? This is already ready. Right? This is already ready. Now we will go to the mentor. Okay, now we will go to mentor. Okay, so for mentor also we will have to do same thing. So in the entities folder or package, I will create a new Java class and I will name it mentor. Okay, so I have to do the same things for mentor also @entity. It's going to be cumbersome, repetitive work. So this will not look interesting, but we have to do it anyway. So I'll write table, I'll write name is equals to mentor. Then there has to be an ID. So private long ID. Okay. What else do we need? Start date, sorry, first name, last name, current company, and years of experience. Okay. So I'll write private string first name, private string last name. Uh, Current company and years of experience. Okay, fine. Private years of experience, should it be a double, sorry, should it be a floating value or integer value? Int value. Float. Okay, let's make it float only. Float. Uh, Years of experience. Now, one quick question. If let's say I moved with int, then would it be better to use int or short? Just a random question. Would it be better to use int or short? The answer is short because it would have taken less space. If we would have used int, which is okay, it would have done our job. But the whole point is nobody can have years of experience more than 80 or 60, right? So that would have been better. We can also use, can we use byte 128, right? 8 into, yeah, no, I think not. I think byte will not do. In some cases, it will overflow. Okay, so we will write some more logic at the rate column. Name is equals to ID. Okay, name is equals to ID. Nullable will be false. Okay, same thing will come over here. So column name will be first underscore name, nullable false. Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Looking good? Okay, nice. Okay, fine. So this is our new entity. This is our another entity. Okay, so because we are also going to accept it in input from request body, so I will also write not blank, not blank. What's wrong over here? Annotations are not allowed over here. Oh, okay. Okay. So now years of experience is a floating value. Now, main question is, can somebody's years of experience be negative? Can someone's years of experience be negative, right? So I can write at the rate min, and I can say minimum value is 0. Can somebody's years of experience be higher than 60? 40 actually. No, right? So I can just write, let's say 40. So you cannot write a years of experience which is greater than 40. You're not immortal. Okay? Make sense? Clear? Is it clear? Great. Okay, so we will do the same thing. So I'll create a repository interface. I will call this mentor repository. Repository, mentor repository. I will decorate this with @ repository. Okay, and I will write implement, sorry, extends JPA repository. Oops, JPA repository with mentor and long. Clear? Isn't it a good practice to keep the primary key as difficult as impossible to guess for the end user for DB security purposes, maybe string UUID? Well, yes and no both. Uh, UUID is a great option, great choice, but a lot of companies use long. Don't you think that long, which is uh, how many? It's like 64-bit integer. It's a 64-bit, right? So can somebody has the capability of choosing 64 characters, 64 unique characters at any point in time? Probably not. With UUID, we have the number of characters fixed. So it can be a 32-bit long UUID string. So somebody can randomly get 32-bit and make the job done. But however, in long, it's a 64-bit challenge. So the length of your long can be greater than, this can be a very large value. So what I'm trying to say is that you are right, UUID will work, but long is also very secure and nice. Cool. Let's move ahead. So this is my repository file. Similarly, I'll have to create my um, service file. It's kind of cumbersome, repetitive work, not my favorite thing to do, but we cannot do anything about it. We have to write it. So service @service private final mentor repository. Okay. Public mentor add mentor. Okay. Then I will write mentor. Okay. Does it look good so far? Does it look good so far? Right? Remaining functions you will write. I will not write. So getting mentor by ID, deleting mentor by ID, updating mentor by ID, that is you. That is something you will write. I will not write it. If I feel the need of writing it in the class, then I will write it. Remaining things I will not write. Remaining things you will write. Okay. And if you don't want to write, then I have no words to say. I have no words to say. Okay. Same thing. I'll go into the controllers and I will write mentor controller. And here I will write @ rest controller. And I will also write @ request mapping. And I will write @/mentor. Okay. Similarly, I will write private final mentor service. Auto-wired @post mapping. Does it look good? What is HTTP status code dot created? Well, if you create something in your backend, or if you are trying to add something new, usually we return a created status, which is equal to 201. I am still So like Indians fight over languages, right? People in our audience are fighting over IDs. Which one is better? STS better, Eclipse better, IntelliJ better, VS Code better. You should the ID which is better for you is the one you are most comfortable with. So if you like Eclipse, use Eclipse. If you like STS, use STS. If you like IntelliJ, use IntelliJ. That's it. Give one example of how we can send status. This is how we can send status. This is how we can send the status. Okay. Are you asking status code as number? Is that what you're asking? Are you asking the number? Like how can we send 201 by writing 201? Is that what you're asking, Nishant? I'll have to check the constructor for this. Let me see if I have something. I don't think we have it. Status code. Nah, we don't have it. We cannot send it like that. However, you should know what kind of whatever number you want to send, there has to be a HTTP status message or HTTP status enum associated with it. Just use that. Cool. Okay, so far everything is clear, right? Now let me run my app. Okay, so I will run my application. And now I will create mentors. So I'll create 2 to 3 mentors. Pandey is asking HTTP status.201. No, that will not work. Okay, starting my app. Okay, it's working fine. Okay, so we will add a new mentor. So first of all, I will move all of them into a folder called a student. Student. And moved. Create a new folder called as mentor. Add request of adding a new mentor. So http:// localhost 7070/mentor/add. Okay, let's try to add a mentor. So let's say the mentor is like this. So we have first name of the mentor, first name. Let's say the first name is Abhishek. Abhishek. Last name, let's say Parmani. Okay. Then we have what? First name, last name, current company. Current company and years of experience. Okay, so let's say current company. Let's say current company is, let's say, Microsoft. And let's say years of experience. Years of experience is, let's say, 4. Okay, or let's say 4.1 because it's a float value. Okay, so now if I click on send, let's see what happens. It says a bad request. Why is it a bad request? Let's check. Okay, so it's trying to say something. Years of experience. Default source resolvable. Let's see what it is saying. Last message must not be blank. Last name must not be blank. Okay, fine. Let's look at our code. Rejected value is equal to null. Okay, just 1 minute. If I go to student controller, I have written, sorry, mentor controller. I've written request body mentor. That's correct only, right? Mentor/add. Last name. FIRST, LAST, NAME. Is there something wrong with this that I am missing? You have written your table name in the snake case and you are passing the attributes in camel case in Postman. No, so that's table name. That's related to database, not related to what I want. Okay, let me see the database also. It's the last day of the course, Mohammed. Today is the last day. So there are two tables, mentor and student. That's correct. Let's go to the properties. We go to columns. We have ID. Okay, everything is looking good. Cool. Now let's see why are we getting this error. It says a bad request for us. So we'll have to check why are we getting bad request. Not blank. Let's go to the mentor class. Current company. Last name, first name. Okay, I think I know why this is not working. I'll have to write on no-aux constructor. Then I have to write getter and @setter. Let me restart. I think this should work this time. No, usually in entities, we don't write @data. And if you have decorated a class with @entity, we do not write @data in that class. It can create some sort of problems. It can make your application slower because of how Lombok internally works. Okay, there's something wrong with Postgres. Column email of the student relation contains null values. Okay, this is happening because in our student table, we previously did not have an email column, right? But now we have added it, and now we have also made it non-nullable and unique. Therefore, it is not working. So what I will do is that I will delete my student table. I have deleted my student table and I will restart my application. So restarting my application. Now it should work. Yeah, my application is running great. So let's add a few mentors. So this is my first mentor. Yeah, so you can see that now it is working absolutely fine. So now this is one of my mentors. Let's add another mentor. Okay, let's add another mentor. Let's call it Hitesh. First name, last name is Pant. Parent company is, let's say, Visa. And years of experiences, let's say 3.5. If I click on send, then this will create one more mentor for us. Okay, is it clear how the mentor initialization is happening, mentor creation? Great. Okay, fine. So now if we go back to the database, sorry, not this, and try to see all the rows. This is what we are able to see. You can see that the information is present in the database, correct? The information is present in the database. Great. All right. Now let's go back. And I want to do one more thing. So one more thing that I want to do is that for every student that gets created, so in the student class, I will also write a password field. I also just want to write a password field. So let's say I'll write private string password. @column. Name is equals to password. Nullable is equals to false. Okay. If I restart my application again, this will not work because nullable is false. So it will create a new password column, but for every student that is already present, for them, the password is going to be empty. Therefore, it will fail. But however, we have 0 rows right now, so it will work. So I'm going to restart my app. Database migration without deleting a database. For that, you have to use a Liquibase file, which is going to make things more complex. Okay, things are working great. All right, so now we have two mentors. One is Abhishek and the second is Hitesh. Okay, both of the tables are also now present in our system. Let's go to the student table. It has the following columns: ID, email, first name, last name, and password. Great. Everything is looking great so far. Now let's move ahead. So now we will also create few students. So let's say I go to this place, and if I go to student class, write mentor. Let's say I create my first student as Akash Joshi. Let's say email as akash@gfg.org. Okay, and password is equals to akash@123 #gfg. Suppose this is my password. If I click on send, then this will create a user for me. As you can see in the, sorry, it will create a student for me. Right? It has created a student for me. Similarly, let's say I want to add one more student. Let's call the student name as Rashmi. Rashmi Kumari. Email is going to be rashmi@gfg.org, and password is going to be rashmi@123 #GFG. Rashmi. Okay, click on send. So now we have one more user, one more student that is created whose name is Rashmi. So far, is it clear? So far, is it clear what I am trying to say? Okay, so can we say that we have successfully finished student and mentor? Can we say that as of now? Now the two more complicated things will come, course and enrollment. So let's try to talk about courses right now. Okay, let's try to talk about courses right now. Now our class will become slightly more complex. Okay, now the class will become slightly more complex. Okay, so now in the entities, I will create a new Java class and I will call it course. Okay, first of all, I will mark this entity, table name. Okay, table name is course. Similarly, @ID, @generated value. Strategy is equals to generation type sequence. And then I can write private long ID. I'll also need to write @all args constructor. Sorry, no args constructor, getter, and setter. Okay, these are the things that I've added. Now let's try to add other things. So first we have a course name. So before that, I will write @column. Name is going to be ID, and nullable will be false. Okay, great. Now we have another column called as course name. So I'll write name is equals to name only. Nullable will be false. Okay, and I'll write private string name. Clear? Now what other things we have? Price. Okay, so we'll write price column. Now what should be the data type of price? Should it be an integer? Should it be a float? Should it be a double? Should it be a uh, what should it be? Technically, in my opinion, it should be a double value. It should be a double. However, float, for people who are saying float, that is also fine. We can use float also, but double is a more suitable field for this. So I'll write name is equals to price. Big decimal. Wow, are you going to pay crores for a course? Nullable is equals to false. I'll write private double price. Okay, private double price. Now, what should be the minimum and maximum value? So the minimum is the course can be free, so 0. Can we have a maximum value of a course? Should we have a maximum value? This is the question. Should we have a maximum price of a course? If yes, then what? Okay, many people are saying no, so we will not put an upper limit on this. Okay, we will not put upper limit on it. Cool. Now this is my price. What else do we need? Maximum student size. Okay, fine. So this will be an integer. This will be an integer. So I'll write private int max, or let's say capacity. Capacity. @column name capacity. Nullable will be false. The maximum capacity, the minimum capacity should be 0. Right? Minimum capacity should be 0. Minimum capacity should be 0. Is that correct? Minimum capacity can be 0. Is that correct? Apparently, no, because you cannot create a class that has no capacity. So let's say we have defined a rule that at least you need to have 10 students. Okay, so we have written 10. Okay, now what else? What else do we have? Number of days. Okay, so I'll write private int number of days. Okay. Okay, what should this be? Column will be number of days, name. Number of days, min and max. So it should at least be of 3 days. And let's say it should maximum be of 2 months. So 60 days. Okay, let's say we have only decided this. Okay, now what else? Start date. Okay, so let's write a start date. So for a date object, we will write private date start date. So you can see the type of this class is date type, date. It's coming internally from Java, not from Spring Boot. It is a Java class. So I will write @ column, name is equals to start date. Start date. Okay. Nullable is equals to false. Now, one quick question. Why not java.time.local date time? We can use that also. If you want to use it, we can use that also. I'm trying to keep things very simple. Okay. Now, my main question is just one quick question. Do you think that the start date should never be less than the date at which the course is being created? Like, let's say I am trying to create a course today, that is 8th of May, but I'm saying the start date is 8th of May 2024. Does it make sense? No, right? So I need to write something like min max over here. Yes or no? Now the thing is, I don't know how to write it. So I'll ask AI. I will have to ask AI. So I'm just going to ask it to AI. Let me open ChatGPT and let me bring it in front of you. This is my ChatGPT, and I will ask my ChatGPT. The reason why I'm showing you what I'm doing with ChatGPT is because it's a part of development today. Tomorrow, if you go to any company, you will most probably be using some sort of AI tool to ask questions if you don't know something. So if anybody in the class is thinking that, Shantanu is using AI for understanding things he doesn't know, blah, 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 then go ahead and think about it. Doesn't give me any harm. Okay, so moving ahead, I have a date field in a class. I want to implement something like @minimum to create a validation. How to do that? So it says we can create a customized annotation. It says we can create a customized annotation. And then, oh my God, it's a lot of work. Do you see? Which AI tool your company Intuit allows employees? We use Gemini mostly. Then Intuit has its own Gen Studio. We use that also. And we use GitHub Copilot. We use CodoGen. We use Cursor AI. We use Llama. We use Windsor, whatever. We use a lot of things. Okay, so as you can see, to do this, it's a complex thing, as you can see. So we are going to skip it. We are going to skip it. For people asking for my LinkedIn, all you need to do is a search on LinkedIn. Probably first or second profile will be mine if you know my name. Okay, so this is what start date is going to look like. What else do we have? Number of days we have, start date also we have. Now we have description. So we'll write a description. So private string description. So description can be null. So I will not write nullable equals to false. I'll just skip it. And I will write description, DESC, that's it. What else do we have? Mentor. Okay, cool. So now we have mentor. So I'll write private mentor and mentor. Okay, this is what I want to write. Now there's a quick interesting thing. So this mentor object is an entity in itself, right? This mentor is an entity in itself. because of that very reason, because a mentor is an entity in itself, we have to declare a relation. So now the concept of database will come into picture. Now the concept of database will come into picture. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Now the concept of database will come into picture. So the idea is something like this. So one course can only have one mentor, right? One course can only have one mentor, but one mentor can teach multiple courses. Is that correct? One course can only have one mentor, but one mentor can teach multiple courses, right? Therefore, the relation over here will be one to many. The relationship over here will be one to many. So this is how we declare relationships inside a Spring Boot entity. This will be a one to many relationship. If you don't understand what one to many means, you need to study database relationships. Sadly, the only relationship we are going to talk about is database ones. So yeah. Can we have many to many? The answer is no, because if you do many to many, that means that one course can be taught by multiple mentors as well. But that is not the case in our situation. So because one course has only one mentor, therefore, the right relationship over here will be at the rate one to many. Okay. So for this also I will write join column. So now I don't write column, I will write join column. And I will write name as mentor ID. This will of course be nullable false. Okay. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? But one course can be taught by multiple mentors as well, right? Isn't it? Yes, it can be. But according to our application, one course can only be taught by one mentor. That is how we are creating our application. It is our use case, our business logic. So one course can be purchased by many students, and many student can purchase as many courses, and many student can purchase as many courses that they want. Yes, that is true. But we don't have a relationship between a course and a student in this class. We don't have it. We are going to maintain it in a separate table of registration. In company allow ChatGPT like AI? Yes, of course, companies allow it. Is it clear one to many? If you don't understand what one to many means, then your ideas of database relationship is weak. If we had differentiated between a course and a class, then a okay, course is COURSE and a class, then a course can be taught by many mentors. Yeah. Many to one is required to know. Yes, it is required. You should know all kinds of relationship. If there is only one constructor in a class annotated with @ component and its stereotypes, there is no need to use auto-wired on it. I know that, Devang, but the whole idea of using auto-wired is to have a good practice of code. So when we say join column, the reason why I'm using join column is because this is a joining will happen between the mentor table and the course table. So when we say join column, it is basically trying to tell you what is the name of it. It's like a replacement for column, but when a relationship is there. Simple as that. Okay. I am Shantanu Shubham from Intuit. Okay, let's move ahead. So this is mentor object. What else do we have? Enrollment end date. Okay, so like private date. Now we need a function public date get end date. We need a function that gives us the end date on the basis of number of days and start date. Okay, we need to do something like that. Okay, so what I will do is I'll go back to, of course, my favorite thing, ChatGPT. And where is ChatGPT? Yeah, here it is. I want to add a certain number of days to a date object, how to do that. This is my code. So I'll just copy it and paste it. Literally, that's what I'm gonna do. Yep. Making sure this is way easier with local date time. You know what? I'll move it to local date time if you're so much interested in local date time. Local date time. Happy? Happy now? Okay, let's try to do this in local date time. I don't even know how to do this in local date time, so I'll ask ChatGPT only. How to do this with local date time. Let's wait for a response. Okay, it's called plus days. Interesting. There is no issue with calendar. The whole point is students want us to use local date time. So I am a good teacher. So I'm listening to students' demands and changing the value. Okay. Interesting. 1 second. Number of days. Start date is what type? Local date time type. Okay. Okay, this is going to be local date time. Okay. Happy? Okay. So this will give us the end date. This will give us the end date. Great. Okay. This will give us the end date as well. So now I have two. Now I have to add basic APIs for creating a course. Okay, so I'll do the same thing, create a repository first of all, called course repository. This will be an interface. I'll write extends JPA repository, course, comma long. Okay, same thing. Now I'll go to service. End date is not a column in DB. Is there significance for maintaining it? We are not maintaining end date in as a column in database. It's just for your use case. What if you want to know when is the end date of the class, but you have a start date and a number of days, so you can just create a function that will give you the number of when is the end date. That's all it has to do. It's a utility. So I'll write course service. We'll decorate this with @ service. Private final course repository. Now, some very extremely learned people will come and tell me, Shantanu, we should not write auto-wired. I know that already. But the whole point is that if something is good practice, then you should do it. It's like if you have to go to office, you can go in shorts also. But that doesn't mean that you have to go in shorts only. It's still a good practice to go to wear a good shirt and a good pant and a good belt and a good shoes and then go to office. That's all I'm trying to do. A convention. Okay. So now I will write simple code for adding a course. Public course, sorry, add course, and then I will write long, sorry, course, and I'll write return this dot course repository dot save course. Okay, then I will write public course get course by ID long course ID, and I can just say return this dot course repository dot get by find by ID course ID or else null. Clear? Is it clear? Missing B in get course by ID. Where? Missing B in get course by ID. Okay, thanks. Okay, makes sense? Now I will go to controller, course controller. Clear? Is it clear? Is it clear what I've written? Okay, great. Now, if I start this app and if I try to add a course, let's see whether we are able to add it. Okay, so now we have a mentor, which is required for a course. And now we are trying to add a course. Okay, so we will try to add a course as well. So let's try to see if we are able to do it. There is some error. What is it? Okay, probably this is not a collection and may not be one to many, many to many. Oh, okay, okay. One mistake I have done. Sorry about it. I should go back to my course and this will be many to one, actually. My mistake. So I'll tell you what mistake I did. Previously, I was telling you it will be one to many, but now I'm saying it will be many to one. There is an analogy that is used to identify what relationship should be used. So the real life scenario is one course can have only one mentor and many mentors, sorry, many courses can be taught by one mentor. Is that correct? Many courses can be taught by one mentor. Is that correct? Many courses can be taught by one mentor. Is that correct? So we usually write it like this only because course is many and mentor is one. That's why we will write many to one. I mistakenly wrote it as one to many. That is my mistake and I take accountability of that. So apologies for it. Did I write one to many in mentor as well? No, I don't think I wrote anything in mentor at all. I did not write. Sir, many mentors can be in one course. So how is it wrong? No, we have not created a use case where one course has many mentors. Our use case is one course has only one mentor. Okay, so that is our logic. We have only created code like this. Okay, so things are working fine. Some error has come. Syntax error at or near DESC. Okay, let's go back to course. And it is saying that it is having an error near over here. Now, the main question is, do you know why this is coming as DESC as an error? Because DESC is a reserved keyword in database for descending order. That's why this error is coming. So description. Okay, so I'll just restart it. Yeah, so our application is now running again. Last error was coming because it was written as DESC, because DESC is a reserved keyword in database, therefore it was throwing an error. Okay, so coming back, now we will create a new folder of course. Add folder, and I will write course. Okay, now I will write a new request over here, create course. So I'll make it post, and I will write localhost /course/add. Okay, then we'll go to body, click on raw, and we will start writing the logic over here. Okay, now let me open them side by side. Okay, so what are the things that we need? Okay, so the things that we need is, first of all, we need a name. So I'll write name is equals to, let's say, Mernstack. This is the name of our course. Okay, then I will write price. Price, let's say 5,000 rupees. Okay, so let's say it is 5,000, 5,000. Okay, 5,000 rupees. Then we have capacity. Capacity, let's say 150 students. 150 students. What else do we have? Number of days. Number of days, let's say 24. Okay, 24. Then start date. Start date. Now this is challenging. How do we parse a local date time as a start date in the JSON? So I have to check over here how to parse a local date time object in Postman as JSON or in JSON. Let's check what it says. So we have to take it in this format. Okay, cool. So we will write it like that. So let's say we want to start it in 2025 in the month of May on, let's say, 15 May. And I have to check the time as well, right? So let's say I want to, it starts at 8 p.m. Okay, so I'll write 8 is what? 200000. Make sense? So this is year, this is month, 2025, right? This is year, this is month, this is date. Then T means time, the 20 means 20 hours, which is 8 p.m. Then 00, then 00, which is 0 minutes and 0 seconds. Okay, makes sense? Is it clear how I have written this? Is it clear how I have written this? Okay, let's move ahead. Description. Let's say this is a course on Mondstack. Simple description, okay? Nothing fancy. Now we have mentor. So I have to write mentor. Now I have to ask you one important question. So if I have to pass a mentor, my ask is, do I pass mentor ID or the whole mentor object? Mentor ID, right? Okay, fine. So I will go to this place, my database, and I will try to find my mentor ID. Database. Okay, so my mentor that I have is 1 and 2. So let's say I want Hitesh as my mentor. So I will write mentor ID as 2. 2 because mentor ID is going to be a long. So I've written as 2. Then I will write enrollment end date. Enrollment end date. Now enrollment end date will be what? 2025. Let's say it is ending on 10th. So 25, 05, 10, T. Let's say it is ending at 12 midnight. So 23, 59, 59. Do you know why I've written 23, 59, 59? Sir, should we not write number of days as number of days in Postman? Our number, you should be writing according to what you've written over here, not what you've written over here. This is for database. This is for database, sir, not for Postman. Okay. Do you know why I've written 235959? Because it means just before midnight. Okay. Cool. Now everything else is done, right? Cool. Now let's try to send this request. Let me try to start it in debug mode. I want to start this in debug mode. So I'll go back to course controller over here and debug point over here and start it in debug mode. Okay, my app is now running. Okay, great. So now if I hit send, let's see what happens. The moment I hit send, you can see it says a bad request. Why? Look at the error, this error. So it says JSON parse error cannot create an instance of mentor, although one creator exists. Why? Because it is a factory method to deselect from number 2. So what it is saying is that it is not able to make a mentor from number 2. It is not able to make a mentor from number 2. And that makes sense because you want a mentor object. You want to get the whole information of mentor. However, we are only writing the mentor ID. Are you able to understand what I am trying to tell you? Okay, so this is the problem. So don't you think that you should be taking the mentor ID over here and use this mentor ID to fetch the mentor? Or you have to pass the whole object. So for example, if I pass it like this, in mentor, I write ID is equal to 2. Then I write first name, or simply of doing this Ramayan, instead of doing that, I can just go here and I can get this value, copy it, go back to course and paste it over here. Now if I click on send, what happens? If I click on send, it says a bad request again. Now, why is this bad request? It says number of days field, rejected value 0. Number of days, number of days, number of days. Okay, I've written it like this. My bad. I should not write it like this. It should be number of days. Click on send. Now you can see that it is accepting the value. So only after I pass mentor as a proper object, it is able to fetch the value. Okay, now let's say I go inside this function of adding the course. For I need, it will go into course service. So now my course has been added. So you can see this is the information about my course. ID of the course is 1, name is Munstack, price 5,000, capacity 150, number of days 24, start date is this, description is this, mentor is this, and we are getting an end date also. Do you see that? We are getting an end date also. Look at this response and tell me if you're able to understand this response. I think we should use a DD on request body instead. That is correct, Devang. We will come to that. So you know it, but others don't. Are you able to understand this response? Okay. So now here you can see that all the information of mentor is coming. And secondly, The enrollment end date is also coming. The enrollment end date is also coming. Enrollment end date is also coming, and end date is also coming. Now, isn't it interesting? Because if I go back to my course model, I don't really have a field called as end date, but I am getting a field end date over here. Yes or no? I don't have a field, right? I have a function called get end date. I don't have a field, but still I'm getting the end date property over here. Yes or no? That is because how Spring Boot internally works. So when an object of course is getting translated into JSON so that we can get this information on Postman, at that time it checks all the getters also. It checks all the getters also. Because this is a getter function, it will return that also. If you don't want to include it, you have to write @JSON ignore. If you write @JSON ignore, then this value will not come. That means your JSON will ignore this property. However, if I go back to database, refresh my table, now I have a course table. And if I open this table, now you will see interesting things over here. ID is 1, capacity is 150. I want you to focus on mentor. It says mentor ID and the value is 2. It doesn't store the whole mentor object. It does not store the whole mentor object. It only stores the ID. It only stores the ID. Yes, it only stores the ID. Is that correct? So this is internally handled inside database. So the foreign key of the mentor inside the course table is automatically handled by the Spring Boot. Spring Boot automatically takes care of it. So when I added a course, I said the mentor is this. So Spring Boot automatically understood what mentor I'm talking about and linked the course and the mentor with each other. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Okay, so what I'm trying to say over here is, so what I am trying to do is here the word mentor is present, not mentor ID, right? Here the word mentor is present, and I'm saying that I want to use a mentor over here. However, in the database, it is making use of a number over here, right? It is making use of a number over here. Which is trying to tell you is that the relationship management is automatically taken care by Spring Boot in this case. The foreign key constraint is automatically taken care by Spring Boot in this case. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Great. Okay, so this is how Spring Boot is going to take care of relationship management by itself, because it's a very powerful tool. Okay, great stuff. Now, I have one more quick question. So suppose right now our course has these many number of columns and our mentor has these many number of columns. Let's imagine a situation that a mentor contains 100 columns. Let's imagine a situation that a mentor is going to contain 100 columns. In that situation, don't you think writing this will become very challenging? Don't you think that writing this will become very challenging? And moreover, moreover, if we want to associate a course with a mentor, writing the ID of the mentor is more than enough. So why should we take the headache of writing the entire mentor object? Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Why should we take the headache of writing the entire mentor object in the request body? We should not be dealing with that. Okay, so in order to solve this problem, what I will be doing is I'll go back to the course class. So in this course class, I cannot change anything. This is absolutely fine. Okay, because this is an entity class and everything in this class is looking absolutely fine. So what we can do is we can go back to our course controller, and instead of accepting an object of course, we can accept an object of a different class which contains all the fields, but instead of mentor contains mentor ID. So suppose a new class which contains all of these fields, but apart from mentor, it contains a mentor ID. And with the help of that mentor ID, it fetches the mentor and gives you the mentor object. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Not getting, okay. So first of all, you understood that why writing the whole mentor object is a problem. You understood this, right? Why writing the whole mentor object is a problem. Okay, so if we are going to use the course class over here, then we have to write the entire mentor object. Is that correct? If we are using the course class over here, then we have to write entire mentor object. So what if instead of using course class, let's say we create a different class. We are going to create a new class. We are going to create a new class, and that class is going to contain all of these fields except mentor, but it will contain mentor ID. And we are going to put that class over here. So in that way, instead of writing the whole mentor object, we can just write mentor ID. Got it? So for this, we use something called as DTO, or we also call it input entity. So I am going to make use of the more popular one called DTO. So I'll write DTO. DTO is my package name. Now, what the full form of DTO is data transfer object. When you want to transfer the data from one class to another, then we make use of a class called as DTO class. Okay, so I will write course DTO. Course DTO. And here I will write @data. I will write, because this is not an entity, so I can write @data, and I will write no aux constructor. Okay, now I will go back to my course class, course. I will copy everything except ID because I don't need it. I don't need this column at all, so removing it. Are you able to understand what I'm trying to do here in course DTO class? Should we also include end date? No, not necessary. Make sense? Okay, is it clear? Now I can go back to course controller, and instead of course, I can just write course DTO. Correct? Are you able to understand the code so far? Okay, now, because I'm using a course DTO, but my course service is making use of course object only, right? It is requiring an object of type course, not course DTO. So I have to write some code which is going to convert course DTO to course. I need to do this. Yes or no? I need to do this, correct? So what I will be doing is I will create a new file package called as mappers. And inside mappers, I will write course mapper. Now, course mapper, what the job of this class is to convert course DTO to course. Okay, this is the job of this particular class. Now, many of you will ask me this question that, Shantanu, if that is all the job it has to do, why can't we have a constructor over here? Of course, sorry, not here. Why can't we just have a constructor in the course class, which does this? Public course and course DTO. Right? Isn't it a valid question that we can just have a constructor over here that will do the job for us? Right? But this will not work because reason is the course DTO has a member ID and we want to use this member ID to fetch a member. Sorry, the course DTO has a mentor ID and we want to make use of this mentor ID to fetch a mentor. Correct? Now, where do we want to fetch the mentor from? From the database. To make use of or to use the database, we have to make use of mentor repository, right? I have to make use of mentor repository or mentor service. Now, I can only make use of mentor repository or mentor service in a bean. That means in something which is decorated with @ component or repository or service or REST controller, which this course is not. Therefore, it is not a right place to write. Did you understand the concept? Okay, that is the biggest reason why I have created a new class inside the mapper called course mapper. And I will make this a bean by making this a component. Clear? So we can do that in service, create a method for DD. Yes, we can do there also, but we should do this separately. That is a good practice. Why couldn't we add mentor ID in the course class? Because it will not maintain the relation anymore. Okay. All right. So now I will write a function over here, public course map to model. Looking fine so far? Looking fine so far? Somebody is mentioning we can implement the java.util function interface and use Lambda, but where? Use it where? Devang, use it where? No response. Okay, I'll wait for your response. In the meantime, I'll get going. Okay, so I need to write the thing over here. So I'll write return new course. Okay, so now here I will have to write, sorry, course C is equals to new course. Then I will write C dot. 1 second. Then I will write, first of all, write mentor M is equals to this dot course repository. Sorry, it should be mentor repository, not course repository. My bad. Mentor repository. Now it's fine. This dot mentor repository dot find by ID. Find by ID. DTO dot get mentor ID. Or else null. Simple. And then I can write if M is equals to null, throw an exception. Which will be what? Throw new not found exception, which has a message, right? Cannot find mentor with ID DTO dot get mentor ID. Is that correct? Looking good so far? Yes, we can make use of builder, but I don't want to take the stress of explaining builder to people because it will take a lot of time and I don't have it. Is it making sense what I'm writing over here? Okay, so to make this simpler, I can just write it over here. or else throw. Okay, this is something we can do. Okay, so no need to write this. And then I will write c dot set name. C dot set name will be DTO dot get name. Similarly, I will write c dot set price is equals to DTO dot get price. Then write c dot capacity. Set capacity is equals to DTO dot get capacity. Then c dot number of days will be DTO dot get number of days. And so on. We will write all the other fields also. Okay, so I'll write c dot start date set start date DTO dot get start date. Then c dot description is equals to DTO dot get description. Then c dot mentor will be M, and c dot set enrollment date will be DTO dot get enrollment date. Clear what I'm doing over here? And then I can just write return C. To make things simpler, I'll write course mentor. Is it clear, this function? Is it clear? Why? Is it clear? All right, nice. Okay, now we can go back to our course controller. And before that, I'll go back to course class first. Okay, so now I don't need this min max whatever because I am not taking this as my JSON input. Okay, so I can just remove it from here. Not needed. I'll restart. No way to automap. No, that's not present. Okay, we need to write this over here. So for this, I'll write private final course mapper. I will add this to my constructor. I can just do this simply like this. And restart. Okay, now I'll restart. Can you repeat? I removed min max from course class because now in my request body, I'm not taking course, I'm taking course detail. That's why I removed it from course class because it is not needed anymore over there. Okay, cool. Now it's running. So now we will create one more course. We will now create one more course. So instead of passing the mentor, we will pass now mentor ID. This time the mentor ID will be 2. So let's say 2. Let's add a new course, Stack Advanced. Okay, price is going to be 7,000. Same capacity number of days, or let's say number of days will be 30. Start date is, let's say after 1 month, 6. And enrollment end date is also 6 June, in the month of June. This is an advanced course on Stack. Is it in run mode or debug mode? Okay, fine. So now you can see that our code will stop at line number 31. So I'll start my code, or I'll trigger the function call. Now you can see that the code is stopping in line number 31. So first of all, we will go to the course mapper, which will come here. So we'll create a course object, and then we are trying to fetch a mentor object. So let's see if we are able to find. Yes, we are able to find a mentor object. So mentor ID was 2. So therefore now we have first name as Hitesh, last name Pant, current company visa, years of experience 3.5. We have all the information we require. So now we will set the value of other fields: name, price, capacity, number of days, start date, description, mentor, and enrollment date. Okay, so this is our course object now. Okay, and it has the valid mentor also over here. It has a valid mentor also. Okay, so now we will get out of this function, and now we will just regularly go and save the course. Right, we will just regularly go and save the course. So now you can see this is our response. In this response, now we are not getting the end date because of JSON ignore input, JSON ignore property. We had decorated the end date function, that is get end date function with @JSON ignore. Therefore, we are not getting that value anymore. But it is good to have the validation of @min and max. Should we then include it in D2 instead of entity? That is correct. And I have included it in the D2 if you have forgotten to notice. I have included it in the D2. I have done that. Okay. So this is how we can create a course. Is course creation clear? Is course creation clear? Great. Now it's 10 p.m. already, and I want to take a quick break of, let's say, 3 minutes before we get started on our next journey. That is towards enrollment. So I'll open the clock and I will set a timer for 3 minutes. So I will see you all in 3 minutes. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm back after a very short 3 minutes break. Okay, let's get back to our system. So now we have two courses. This is our course table. So now we have two courses. As you can see, there are two database rows. Okay, so we have two courses now. Okay, great. Now we have to write the logic for enrollment. This is going to be the most complex piece, so this will require more attention. So we'll go to the entities and create a new Java class called enrollment. Enrollment, enrollment. This is going to be an entity. This is going to be an entity. The table name for this is going to be name as enrollment. Okay. Now we will write some very important logic in this table. So this is also done. Make it green. Okay, coming back to enrollment. Okay. So we will write first of all an ID. This will be generated value strategy is equals to generation type sequence. Cool. Then I will write private long ID. Okay, what will be this at the rate column? Name is equals to ID, nullable as false. Okay, nice. Great. Now, what is the next field? Student. Student. So I'll have to write private student. Okay, now one quick question. One enrollment will only have one student, right? One enrollment will have one student, but one student can have many enrollments. One student can have many enrollments, correct? So in this case, don't you think that this will be a many-to-one relationship now? This will be a many-to-one relationship. So I will write many-to-one. And I will write join column name as student ID. Of course, the label will be false. Is it clear? Is it clear? Similarly, in order for the enrollment to happen, the enrollment will always happen with a course. So I will write private course. Just like student, one course can have many enrollments, right? One course will have many enrollments. One course can have many enrollments, or many enrollments can correspond to one course. Correct? Therefore, this will also be many-to-one. And this will become join column. Name as. Can you take one example from many-to-many for learning? I'll see if I have the time, I'll do it. Okay, I'll write course ID nullable as false. What else do we need? Enrollment date. So I'll write private local date time enrollment date column. Okay, what else do we have? Status. Cool. So I'll write inside this entities, or inside this Geeks for Geeks, I will create a new package called as enums. And inside enums, I will write a Java class, which is of type enum, and I will write course status. And here I will write my three different types of statuses. Active, what else? Complete and cancelled. Now, do we know what is an enum? People, this question is specifically for those who understand Java or JavaScript. Do you know what is an enum? If you're coming from C++, you will not have any idea about it. Okay, great. If people already know enum, then that's nice. Okay, so this is my enum. All right, now I'll go back to my enrollment class And here I will write private course status. And I will write column name is equals to status. Null label will be false. Okay. There, I want to provide a default status to this. So the default status can be course status dot active. Okay. So now this is our enrollment entity, right? This is our enrollment entity. Cool. Does anybody any questions around this file? Anyone any questions around this file? Do we need to mention enumerated? No, not by default. Unless you want to do something with the enum, it's not required. It will automatically be taken care by Java. Or should I say Spring Boot in this case? Is it clear so far? Anybody any questions about this file? Cool. Let's move to the repository. I will write enrollment repository. Enroll repository, enrollment repository. Extends JPA repository. Enrollment and long. Clear? Simple file. Okay, simple stuff. Cool. Now I'll go to this thing. Where is my service? Now I will write service, that is enrollment service. We'll decorate this with @service annotation. Here I will write private final enrollment repository. Auto wire it. Auto wiring. Okay. Now let's talk about adding an enrollment. So like public enrollment, add enrollment. Add enrollment. Simple return this dot enrollment repository dot save enrollment. Okay. Got it? Okay. So this is a simple function that we have created. Similarly, I'll go to controllers, create a new class called enrollment controller. We'll decorate this with @rest controller and @request mapping / enrollment. Then write private final enrollment service. Okay, then I will write public response entity, add enrollment. Now I need to have a enrollment DTO. Is that correct? We need to have an enrollment DTO. Is that correct? Okay, cool. So I'll write enrollment DTO. And this will be an exact copy of enrollment, except it will have student ID and course ID. Is it clear what I'm trying to do over here? I'll write @data and that's it. Data is enough. No aux constructor I need. No aux constructor. Okay, so now we have to create a mapper for the same. Okay, so now let's create a mapper. Is there something wrong over here? Yeah, okay, it's fine. We'll come to it. In the mappers, we'll create a enrollment mapper. This will be @component. And here I will write private final student repository. Okay. I don't know what is the purpose of not adding no aux constructor and aux engine of not wait, I don't know what's the purpose of not to adding no aux constructor and aux constructor data by Lombok. I don't know that either. Okay, so let's get back to AutoWired. Then I'll write public enrollment map to model. And I can write enrollment DTO. Sorry, enrollment DTO. DT. Okay, cool. Now I will write student S is equals to new, this dot student repository dot get, find by ID, DTO dot get student ID. Similarly, I will write course C is equals to this dot course repository dot find by ID, DTO dot get course ID. Here I will write or else throw something. Oops. Or else throw not found exception. Same thing will happen over here also. Clear? Are you able to understand what I've written so far? Okay. So I can write a more descriptive message. Let's say student with ID. Clear? Now the message is also fine, right? So now I will write enrollment enrollment E is equals to new enrollment. Then I will write E dot. Okay, so I have to go to enrollment and add getter and setter. Cool. Now go back to enrollment mapper. I'll write E dot set course will be C. E dot set student will be S. E dot set enrollment date will be DTO dot get enrollment date. And E dot set status will be DTO dot get status. And then return E. Making sense? Making sense? Okay, so we'll just rename it properly. Clear? Now the code is also looking fine. Nice. We'll go back to enrollment controller and we'll make this a enrollment DTO. And here I can write return new response entity, just dot enrollment service dot add enrollment sum enrollment, and then HTTP status dot created. And here, because I need an enrollment mapper over here, so I'll write private final enrollment mapper. Looking fine so far? Enrollment detail doesn't have validations annotation, so I think we should not use @valid corresponding controller. Very good point. So I can remove it. Okay. Looking fine so far. So now we will just reload our code and try to create an enrollment. Okay, so now the code is running fine. Now let's try to create an enrollment. Let me do this add course. This is add mentor. Okay, let's go to body, raw, JSON. Now we have to write the enrollment detail. So student ID and course ID. Okay, so write student ID, something, then course ID, something, and then we have enrollment date and course status. Okay, fine. Enrollment date. And status, let's say we don't pass because by default it will be active. Okay, cool. Now, the main question here is let's pass correct student ID and the correct course ID. So correct course ID will be in this case, let's say course ID is 1. Course ID is 1. And student ID is, let's say 152. If I click on send, I don't pass an enroll. Okay, I need to pass an enrollment date. So let's say when is the starting enrollment for the course, which is present over here. Enrollment end date is we have. It can start at any point. Okay, fine. So before the start date and end date. Okay. Now, one quick question. Whenever you are trying to enroll into a course, you must always enroll before the start date and also before the enrollment end date, correct? So you must always enroll before the start date. So let's say I'm trying to enroll today only. I'm trying to enroll today only. So I'll write 2025-0508. Time is 11 p.m. So 23:00:00. Clear? This is my enrollment date. Okay, fine. Now I'll go back to my Java code. I'll go back to enrollment controller. Enrollment controller, please. Wow, did my IntelliJ just hang? No, no, no. It's fine. Click on send. The code should, okay, something wrong happened. Enrollment. Okay. The reason is I did not add a post mapping over here. That's why. So restart my code. Yeah, let's try to send now. Not found. I think I need to restart properly. So I'll just restart properly. Hmm. Sending now. Now the code is pausing over here. So now it will get me the proper enrollment object after fetching the student and the course. So you can see the enrollment information like this: ID 0, student object is also over here, course object is also over here, enrollment date is also present, and status is also present. Great. If I just save it, then this will be saved in the database. And look how I'm getting the data. In the student, I'm getting student ID, all the information of student. Similarly, I'm getting all the information of course, therefore also getting all the information of mentor, and I'm getting the enrollment date and every other information I need. The reason why I'm getting this is because my return type is actually a course. So I'm sending the entire course object over here. That's why I'm seeing the response like this. Are you able to understand what we are doing? Okay. Now the main question is, we need to add some sort of validations. So if I go to my service, I have to make some checks over here. So the checks will be something like this. If the enrollment dot get enrollment date. Okay, so if the enrollment date is after the enrollment dot get course dot get start date, then there is a problem. If the enrollment date is after the start date, then there is a problem. It should not be happening. Correct? It must not be happening, right? We have to throw an error, right? We have to throw an error. Another thing is this part, or I can write enrollment dot course dot get capacity. Oh, okay. I think capacity check we can skip because we are not maintaining a current capacity right now. Okay, fine. Valid registrations of this course. Okay. For the time being, I'll come back to that later. So this is throw an exception. Throw an exception. Similarly, if the capacity exceeds, then also have to throw an exception. For exceeding the capacity, I have to check how many enrollments are already present in that course. How many enrollments are already present in that course, correct? I have to check that. Yes or no, right? So I need to know how many enrollments are present for a certain course. For that reason, I will go to my enrollment repository and I will write one very weird looking code. Okay, I will write one very weird looking code. Where is my JP repository? Okay, should I do it? Just give me 1 second. I think I'll have to update my IntelliJ. Anyway, I was facing some problems with my current version of IntelliJ. Just give me 1 second. I'll see if it updates. It updates. Just 1 second, please. It is starting now. I need to fix this error. Uh, JPB model. Let me check. Okay, that's okay. I'll check this later. Index it. Yeah, my IntelliJ is now ready. So now I want to fetch uh I want to fetch a list of enrollments on the basis of a course ID, correct? Or on the basis of a course, correct? I want to fetch how many enrollments are present for a specific number of for a specific course, which is not cancelled. Are you understanding? Which is not cancelled. So I can write private, sorry, this is an interface, so there's nothing called private. So I will have to write list of enrollment, find by course. So this is the function that I'm writing, find by course. The most interesting thing is just by looking at the name of this function, Spring Boot will understand how to run this query. Spring Boot will understand how to run this query. Are you understanding what I'm saying? The most interesting part right now is just by looking at the name of the function, Spring Boot will understand how to run this query. Okay, so what I will do is I'll go back to my service, which is here, sorry, enrollment service, and I will try to find if this dot enrollment repository dot find by course enrollment dot get course dot size is uh, is greater than or equal to enrollment dot capacity get capacity, sorry, enrollment dot get course dot get capacity plus 1, then again throw an error. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Not able to understand. Okay, what about others? Okay, so I'll tell you what is really happening over here. Do you understand what this is supposed to do? Do you understand what this is supposed to do? Okay, do you understand what this is supposed to do? So I think what you need is the logic, the understanding behind this, right? What you need is an understanding behind this, correct? So first of all, if you go to the in course, okay, if you go to course, now in this course, 1 second. Yeah. So where is it? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, there was some issue with my IntelliJ. So I was just saying that in this particular course class, you can see that there is a course in this particular enrollment class. Where is my enrollment? Enrollment is here. So in this enrollment class, there is a course property or there's a course field, correct? There's a course field. Now I want to search or I want to get a list of enrollments by course, right? I want to get a list of enrollments by course. Are you able to understand my logic? Are you able to understand my logic, what I'm trying to say over here? Okay. So now if I go to because this is going to be a database operation, I have to get this information from my enrollment repository. Correct? I need to get this information from my enrollment repository. Is that correct? I need to get this information from my enrollment repository. All right. So because I need to get this information from enrollment repository, I have to first check if that sort of function is already present. Just like we have find by ID, dot save, dot delete by ID, we need to check if this sort of function is already present. So if I go back to my course enrollment service, sorry, before that, I'll go to enrollment repository and comment it as if it is not existing. Then I'll go to enrollment service and I will see dot find. Okay, so here, as you can see, there are so many functions, but there is no function that can search by course. Because this functionality does not exist by default, I have to write this logic inside my repository by writing it like this. So first of all, my question is, what do I need? I need a list of enrollments. Second question is, what do I need to get this? I need a course. And this function is the name of the function. Find by course is the name of the function. So according to the name of the function, and because this interface is implementing JPA repository, just by understanding the name of the function, it will automatically understand what type of database query it needs to run. That is the logic. It will automatically understand what sort of logic it needs to run to find the list of enrollments by the course ID or by course. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? That is the whole logic. So just by looking at the name of the function, it will automatically happen. So that is the whole logic behind it. So now the one quick question is, let's say the capacity is 150. If the capacity is 150, then don't you think that, and let's say the capacity is 150 and there are 150 registrations already happening. Now I want to add a 151st registration. In order to check whether the capacity is reached or not, I have to check, I need a whole list of all the enrollments by this course. I need the list of all the enrollments for this course. That means it will fetch 150 rows from the database. It will fetch 150 rows from the database. Now, if it fetches 150 rows from the database, it will become very complex. The size will become very high. The size will become very high. Because of this reason, what I can do is I can change the return type of this function to a long. And I can change the count or the name of this function to count by course, right? Count by course. Are you able to understand what I have done over here? Okay, so this will return me a count value. Okay, now if this is returning me a count value, I can go back to my course repository, sorry, course service. No, sorry, enrollment service. And here I can write this dot enrollment service count by course is greater than equal to 1 second plus 1. Are you able to understand what I'm doing over here? So if an enrollment actually happens, then this will become the new value. So if this new value is greater than the capacity, then I will throw an exception. Got it? Otherwise, I will just save my enrollment. Got it? Similarly, if I want to fetch a list of enrollments of a certain student, then also I can do it over here. I can just go to enrollment study and I can write list of enrollment find by student. This will give me a list of enrollments by that student. This will give me the list of enrollments of that student. Will this not raise any readability issues? Is it fine that Spring Boot implicitly creates the query? It is absolutely fine. However, if the user or the developer wants to write their own query, you can always write it in the @query. You can always decorate your function with @query, and whatever query you will write over here, that query will run, and that query will correspond to this function. You have that functionality present with you if you want to do that. That opportunity or that power is there with you. How to understand which all functions are supported by Spring Boot? Like you said, technically all functions are supported. All functions are supported. You can get this information anywhere online, but if you can think of a query, it's already supported. If you can think of a query, it's already supported. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Okay, so now the idea is so now this, because we are coming to the end of the class. So now I want you to go to the enrollment controller and write a logic of finding all the enrollments of a student. So you have to take a student ID, and using the student ID, you have to find all the enrollments of that student. All the enrollments of that student. So you have to take a student ID as input, and using that student ID, you have to find student. And then after finding the student, you have to find the enrollments. One more thing you can do is you can also write the logic like this. Find by student ID. So you can write a function that takes student ID as param and find all the enrollments for that student. You can also do this. We don't just need enrollments, but active enrollments. So you have to add another filter. That means I need active enrollments only. So how will I find active enrollments? How will I find active enrollments? Only active I need, right? Only active I need. So in this case, it's again very simple. So what I will be doing is, I can say list of enrollment, find by student and status. And you have to pass the status over here. So enrollment. What is the status I had added? Course status. Okay. I think it should be enrollment status, not course. This will do the job for you. Okay, so let me just write it separately. This will fetch you the list of enrollment students, sorry, list of enrollments for a particular student with a particular enrollment status type. Okay, so this function is going to do the job for you. So you can see the name of the function is going to tell you what is this query going to do. You know what? This one very interesting trick I want to share with you. I am not able to share it with you right now, and that trick always helps me. So this is IntelliJ specific. What I'm going to talk about is IntelliJ specific. So in IntelliJ, there is a plugin called as JPA Buddy. This is the one. And for some reason, it's not working on my system right now. Request plugin, whatever it is, com.intellij.jpa.jpb.model. I don't know what is this plugin. Previously, it used to work. With the help of this plugin, you will get a UI like pop-up. And inside that pop-up, you can say what kind of query you want, and it will generate this kind of code for you. it will generate this kind of code for you. So I always use that plugin in order to write my JPA queries. It is very helpful, but for some reason it's not working on my IntelliJ right now. I don't know why. But if you can install it on your computer, it would be amazing to see how amazingly it works. However, it doesn't support the JPA queries 100%, but it does support 98%. Some very complicated JPA queries you cannot write with the help of JPA Buddy, but most of the generic queries that you require, you will be able to write it. If you're using count by course and find by student, won't the implicit query created by Spring Boot require the equals implementation of the course and student classes? Count by course and find by student. So Spring Boot will automatically handle it. You don't have to worry about it. As long as you give it a valid entity, it will take care of it. It will take care of it, completely take care of it. Okay. So your task is to take inside, no deployment. So your task is to take in an input of student ID. With the help of that student ID, I want you to fetch the list of enrollments of that student that are active, so that a student can know which enrollments they are going to use. For your ease, I am going to push this code so that you can write it just from exactly where I have left it. Okay, so let me say add enrollment and mentor and course. And push it. Great. If we want to add Spring Security, just go to your POM file and uncomment it. If you uncomment it, your Spring Security will be back. So you have to write a username password every single time to access it. Right? So this is all we can cover in a basic Spring Security session. So Spring Security is extremely vast. It's an ocean in itself. Through DB credentials, trust me, if I start teaching it right now, it'll take another 1 hour, which I don't have. And according to the course outline, we just had to talk about basic authentication, which is something I've already done. Can we write count by course and status? Yes, you can. You can do that. I have been attending your class for the past few days and I fully appreciate the insight knowledge you shared. I wanted doctors. Sufficient to crack a Spring Boot. This is not sufficient to crack a Spring Boot interview as a fresher. You need more. You need more preparation than this. However, you know a little bit of every single thing, but you need more in each single part in order to get ahead. I cannot discuss token-based authentication. It is complex. Secondly, if I start discussing it right now, it'll take another 1.5 hours, which I don't have. And it was not planned to be taught in these 3 days anyway. So sorry about that. JPA versus JDBC. JPA internally uses JDBC only. So there is something called as Hibernate, which uses JPA, and then JPA internally uses JDBC. So JPA is going to make things easy for you so that you don't have to use JDBC by yourself. Do you suggest to learn about servlets to understand filters mechanism? A little bit, yes, you can. Filter mechanism will be beneficial in terms of Spring Security only in terms of Spring Boot. Any chance to get another bootcamp through you? Ask Geeks for Geeks. If you ask Geeks for Geeks, they might just set me up. Are we going to continue tomorrow? No, today was the last day. It was a 3-day bootcamp on 6th, 7th, and 8th of May. So today is the last day. So the representative for Geeks, just a quick heads up that students might want another bootcamp with me. So yes. Yesterday's code. All the code is present in this repository only, man. Everything is present here. In this project, we also need to update enrollment API. So yeah, you'll have to create the enrollment API updating by yourself. It should be having a role-based access to only allow admin to modify it. Can you talk brief about it? Okay, sure. So when you start to implement Spring Security, you can also add an RBAC related stuff over there where every user can have an administrator role or a user role. So on the basis if the role is allowing it, only then that API will be accessed. So that is how you can control it. My name is Shantanu Shubham. Okay. So I've already pushed the code. Now this is in many ways a mini project in itself, and this can be taken forward by each one of you into any direction as per your choice. So because this is a project that already works, it would be my recommendation that you play around with this project as much as possible. So you take it forward, try to play around with it, write more logic, fail with something, understand how to implement something that you want to implement, write the code, see if it is working or not. If it's not working, why it's not working. And that's the real way to learn it. That's the real way to learn it. Data access object is when your model and your database entity are two different things. So apparently in this case, your model and data access object, which is DAO, is the same. However, we can bifurcate it. If you bifurcate it, then your entity will become your data access object and your model will become the source of truth for your backend application. Can we get certificate? It really doesn't matter, Alok, because when you go for an interview, nobody is going to ask you whether you have a certificate or not. So if you have a certificate, it's nothing more than a decorative item. If you know Spring Boot, then that's what really matters. I'll be very honest with you. I have worked in companies like Amazon. I have cleared interviews of companies like Microsoft. I work in Intuit. Uh, a lot has happened. I've been to US, I've come back. So many things I've done in my career, and nobody has ever asked me if I have any certification. Nobody has asked me if I have a certificate to show to prove what I know. And because it really doesn't matter. I didn't even have to explain this to somebody that I don't have a certificate. Nobody ever asked me also. So don't run behind certificates. If we want to connect this backend application to UI, how can we do it? So you have endpoints, right? So your UI needs to make API calls. Just like your Postman is doing API calls to your backend, your UI will need to make API calls. So depend on what UI tool you're using. If you're using React, make use of Axios to make API calls to your backend application. That's how it's going to connect. Any more questions? We have 7 more minutes. So do you just want to take screenshot to post to your LinkedIn? Can we have a pose? A pose. Okay. This should be fine, I guess. Just fixing my hair so that that post looks good. Yeah, that's it. Deployment part piece. So for like I said in the very start of the session, we cannot do the deployment because we don't have the relevant resources. And even if I did teach you deployment, it's not going to make a lot of sense because every company has a different way of deploying. Some companies might want to use pipelining, companies might want to use deployment in Kubernetes pods, some companies might want to deploy it on a server, blah, 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 blah. So it's better that you learn deployment from the place where you're actually going to deploy your, like use your Spring Boot application. That is most probably a company. Even in interviews, nobody is going to ask you whether you know how to deploy a Spring Boot application or not, unless you're working in a very small company or a startup. I've already pushed the code to GitHub. It is already accessible. You're welcome, everyone. How is Spring Cloud in relation to AWS deployment? Well, if depends on what AWS resources are using. Spring Cloud is a different thing altogether. It connects with Eureka server and blah blah blah. Any more questions, anyone? It's asking your email ID to send a connection request in LinkedIn. That's true because there was a time when I used to get 100 connection requests every single day and I did not know most of the people. So I paused it. However, for this class, I'm going to change my LinkedIn settings to accept connection requests even without my email address. So allow me 1 minute. Let me change that setting for you. Then I will bring it back. Uh, Sign in security, visibility. Just 1 second. Yeah, I've changed my setting now. So you can send me a connection request now without my email address as well. Is Spring Boot relevant now? Of course, it's very relevant. You're asking if my job is relevant or not. It's very, very, very relevant right now. It's too verbose, of course. Every end-to-end framework is very verbose. Is Angular not verbose? Angular is a front-end development framework. Is it not a verbose? Is Android development not verbose? Is iOS development not verbose? They're all verbose. They're all verbose. Without the verbosity, they don't have the power that they have right now. I'm making an ERB project for filling station using Spring Boot. Please suggest deployment option. Deploy it on AWS. Deploy it on an AWS EC2 instance. Or if you can use Docker Kubernetes, even better for availability. As a start career in any startup, how much we need to know Spring Boot, sir? Depends on what is the requirement of that startup. Still asking for email, just refresh your browser. It should be fine. Like if it's asking for email, probably LinkedIn settings are slow, so maybe it will come in sometime. मैं एक महीने से कंटेस्टेंट reply कर रहा हूँ, but कोई reply नहीं आ रहा. What should I do? Like deploying locally, we cannot deploy locally, man. You need a server to deploy. Any more questions? Anyone? Should I go for MERN stack or Java stack for industrial training according to future trend? You can go with either. Ultimately, it won't matter because if you join as a fresher, the company will give you the project that they only want. So you have to adjust according to the company's tech stack. Now, if your company's tech stack is Java based, then okay. If your company's tech stack is JS based, then okay. But what if it's Python based? Then none of your trainings are going to help. Therefore, focus on concept and then implement it in the language that you have to work on. That's the logic. What about buying a system and deploying it on premise? What is the meaning of buying a system? I don't know what that means. GitHub link, God, the GitHub link is shared 2 days ago. It's present with everyone, and probably everybody in the class has shared that GitHub link so many times. So I'm surprised people are still asking for GitHub link. I'm going to send it to you one last time. After this, if you don't have the GitHub link, that's your loss. If there's anything you've learned in these 3 days, at least you should know the GitHub link, right? Otherwise, what's even the point of being in the class? You will continue other bootcamp from tomorrow? No, I don't have any more bootcamp scheduled right now, so probably not. You guys stay tuned to Geeks for Geeks channel to see if I am aligned for any other bootcamps in the future. If I am, feel free to join. I will try to teach you a thing or two based on my understanding. How to join GFG? By enrolling into a course, or if you want to join as an employee, then check their careers page. I have 1 more minute until the clock strikes 11. Thank you, Gautam. Tell us some interview topics that we should definitely prepare before going to any interview. That will depend on the seniority of your position. So you need to tell me what is the seniority of the position. Then I can help you what kind of questions will come. And I don't think I can tell you those questions in 1 minute that I thought I had. All right. So the clock has struck 11 and I will go, but I will answer the question around interview questions. In Spring Boot, people will ask you what is a component, what is a bean. They will ask you things like how to connect multiple data sources inside a Spring Boot application. They can ask you about multiple types of annotations, what each annotation does and what each annotation means. They can ask you things around Spring security, Spring security. They can ask you questions around Kafka. They can ask you questions around how to make API calls in Spring. They can ask you low-level designing questions that are not related to Spring, but related to backend development in general. And I think that should be it for somebody who's joining this role as a fresher. That should absolutely be fine. Okay. All right, that's it from my side. Now I'll take my goodbye from all of you. So thank you very much for joining the sessions. I hope in these 3 days you were able to learn something insightful, and I was able to teach you something that will help you in your future. And just all the best for to each and every one of you for your career. It would be amazing to stay connected with each and every one of you. So thank you very much for giving me 3 precious days of your life. Thank you.